Hello, this is the My Artifact episode number 3457. Today's date is 19th of June 2025. It's been almost like a night at 9:52 p.m. Alright, we directly jump into the question. Let's go. Okay, question is, does the rise of sexualized content on social media platform affect how comfortable you feel using them? Oh, that's a really good question. Okay, yeah. Okay, what exactly is this question? Why are you asking this question to yourself? And yeah. Okay, so basically, is this thing that couple of days ago, or maybe I don't know, just couple of days ago, I was kind of like simply scrolling through Instagram. By the way, I don't really have a Instagram application. I'm actually accessing from Chrome browser. Okay, so while I was kind of like accessing it, kind of like a pop some sort of kind of like a profile on my feed page, which is like a very unnatural. Okay, let me tell you one thing regarding about me. Okay, I like my Instagram feed is kind of like always clean. First of all, let me tell you my Instagram use. Okay, yeah, I don't really have an app. Okay, almost like a year and a half, almost like a 2 year ago. No, it's been almost like a 3 year. Yeah, like basically almost like a 3 year ago, I kind of like stopped using Instagram on application. Okay, yeah, I access Instagram through browser, Chrome browser, and things like that. Why? It kind of like a control me to use this app. Okay, yeah. Basically, it's this thing when you use Instagram on application, the everything feels really smooth. Okay, the video buffer is really like, it doesn't really buffer. It just everything is loads very perfectly. Just the everything the explain the way that you use that Instagram is very smooth. Okay, but when you use same website on Chrome browser, the kind of like a something the things that they use is kind of like a little bit rough. Okay, yeah, a little bit kind of like a jittery. Okay, yeah, and the experience is not really that much smooth, which is kind of like a really good for me. Because of that, when this is kind of like a jitter thing happened, when I'm kind of like accessing Instagram through Chrome browser, it kind of like a control me to how much I use. As well as in a Chrome browser, you can't access so much amount of reels. Okay, yeah, like basically in Instagram platform, you could click the reel and you can watch the reel, and you didn't really like the reel, you just kind of like a scroll up, another reel is actually happened. But in Chrome browser, you can't do that. Like you can do that, yes, but not really that much. Yeah, not really that much, because it's kind of like a somebody that key it just let you stop for all those accessing things like that, like I don't know about that, but in the Chrome browser there is a kind of like some cookies and cache is actually created while using these reels and something like that. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that key you at least can scroll 10 to 20 reels max to max. Okay, and as also the experience that you get is really rough. So probably is this thing that he like a because of I'm using Instagram on the Chrome browser, it kind of like a limit me to kind of like how do I supposed to use. So which is really great for me. So since then, I'm not really using any Instagram app. Okay, yeah. Sometime I install the Instagram app because of that key. I am a content creator. I am kind of like uploading my content on Instagram platform. By the way, I am not uploading my content through Instagram app. I'm actually uploading my content through Meta Studio. Meta Studio is a kind of like a somebody creator Meta Studio. It's a kind of like a website you could, which is kind of like a YouTube Studio, kind of like that. Okay, yeah. Through my PC. Okay, yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that it's a very different experience when you use Instagram through Chrome browser, which kind of like a somebody control me to use the Instagram app. Okay, yeah. So because of I'm using my Instagram app very less, as well as my feed is very clean. Okay, usually in my feed there is a very kind of like a, it suggests such a content which I like a, it kind of like a suggests me photography content or filmmaking content. Okay, like this and that, okay, So like basically, and I am actually accessing Instagram from very long year ago. Like basically since 2015 when the Instagram launched, I was kind of like a somebody maybe, I don't know. I was like a really like my first post that I put on the Instagram in 2014 maybe. Just can you imagine? Almost like a 9 year ago. Okay, yeah. So I am kind of like using this Instagram since then, and as well as at that time, Instagram was actually meant for photographer. Is not for kind of like a simply the things that we are actually seeing right now. Yeah, at that time the Instagram is only meant for photographer. That's why the logo of the Instagram is kind of like simply have the camera feature and things like that. Whatever. Okay, yeah. So since then I'm using Instagram, and since then my content consumption is regarding about the photography, filmmaking, things like that. So it kind of like suggests me that kind of like a content which is really good. Okay, yeah. Because of that, when I open the Instagram, it kind of like get me a little bit of something information regarding about the interest that I have, which is really good. Okay, yeah. But lately Instagram became something very different. I don't know, yeah, but it's like like really different. Okay, like it's different means how do I suppose the difference? Like basically is this thing since 2014 to 2020, nothing really happened. Like till the COVID is nothing really, just kind of like something very common. Okay, yeah. COVID happened, and after the COVID, still the same. Okay, still the same. But I don't know, like maybe last 2 3 year means like that at 2023 to 2024 maybe. Okay, yeah, there is a very instant rise on Instagram. Okay, yeah, and people are kind of like creating such a content which is little bit explicit. Okay, little bit kind of like something like that sexual content. I'm not really sure how this happened. Okay, yeah, because it kind of like showcasing me such a feed that is little bit of sexual arousing things, like a girl is actually wearing some sort of revealing clothes and something like that. I don't know, yeah, but I'm actually seeing that thing, and I was like, why the fuck I'm seeing this feed? Because let me tell you one thing, my feed is always clean, always have kind of like such a content which relate with my interest, but it kind of like suggests me such a content that I am completely aware, like I don't know where is this fuck came from. I don't know, and it's just like, okay, I thought that maybe it's a kind of like a somebody one post that is okay, but it kind of like a showcasing me multiple times with a very random profile that is completely 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 different from my interest, completely different. Yeah, it's just like that I never really access those kind of like some people, I never really consume that kind of like content, but it kind of like suggests me such a content which is literally sexual, and I was like, why the fuck Instagram is actually suggesting me this kind of like some content. By the way, let me tell you one thing, I am very less user of the Instagram. Like if I'm try to tell you how much I use per day, maybe 10 minute or 20 minute. Okay, yeah, like a max to max if I have kind of like a free time, or if I'm stuck at somewhere and I don't really have any source of entertainment, so at that time I might gonna use Instagram. But usually max to max time is maybe 30 minute. Okay, yeah, but for daily purposes might be kind of like a 10 minute, 10 to 15 minute per day max. Okay, yeah, so I'm not actually accessing that much Instagram. Then why does Instagram is actually suggest me such a feed? That is, I don't know. I just literally don't know. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you, what exactly is this question? Okay, the question is that how much you are comfortable regarding about this sexual content. Well, how much I comfortable? First of all, is that my Instagram handle, or the Instagram that I access is like basically I'm not actually access the Instagram through in front of all my families and things like that. No, okay, yeah, it's a kind of a private. Okay, yeah, but still, how much you comfortable? Okay, let me explain this thing. How much I comfortable? Okay, yeah. Almost like a 2 3 year ago, or maybe almost like a 5 year ago, before the COVID, I can open the Instagram anywhere I want, and I can easily access the Instagram. Okay, without any kind of like a feel that if someone is actually look at me, it doesn't really bother me that much. Okay, yeah, it felt really comfortable. Like just like I don't really think that it was kind of like something very wrong. No, nothing like at all. Everything feels really right, and everything feels like, yeah, I could access this thing. It's not really that much kind of like a only problem to me. Okay, yeah, But right now, if I open the Instagram, I am kind of like a somebody away. I think that ki if someone sees my feed, it kind of like a something like I'm not really sure about the what kind of like a Instagram is actually showing me in my feed. Okay, kind of like a half naked girl or things like that. So I was like, what the fuck is this? So right now I'm not really comfortable to use Instagram. Okay, in the public place I am not, legit not. Okay, because it is not. Why this thing is not really comfortable? Why do you think that since the couple of years why this Instagram became so sexualized and things like that? Why? um I don't know. Okay, I am not really sure, but there is a couple of things that I wanted to stuff. Okay, yeah. It's not about the Instagram. Like basically, if I'm gonna say kind of like a blame towards the Instagram that ki, the Instagram is kind of like a somebody doing this thing and something like that. No, Instagram is a kind of like a something machine or kind of like a something algorithm. Oh yeah, it is kind of like a something people who are using this thing and what kind of like a they are. Okay, what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, yeah. So Instagram is a kind of like a something algorithm. Okay, yeah. What is actually the main purpose of Instagram? Is kind of like a something hook you into his app. Okay, yeah. Means like that. Ki what is actually algorithm is actually showing you such a feed that you can use your Instagram for very long period of time. This is the only one purpose that Instagram is actually have. Instagram algorithm may actually work. It doesn't really understand what is actually sexual content. It doesn't really understand what is actually right content for you. No, it is only kind of like a simply understand which kind of like a content that people loves it, and they kind of like a do the experiment that ki, this kind of like a content that most of people loves it, so show this content to the more and more people. So this is what kind of like a something happened. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that ki sexual kind of content is people are always look up to. People are always have interest regarding about looking at the sexual content. Okay, yeah, this and stuff like that. So indirectly, people are started watching that particular content, and YouTube algorithm, sorry, Instagram algorithm understand that ki this piece of content is a very good content. Recommend that content to the more and more people. So it recommend to the more and more people. It doesn't really understand what that is sexual and things like that. Okay, so I think this is the kind of like a something that problem or issue or things like that. But I am not really. But still, if you ask me this question that ki, how are you comfortable of using the social media application? Okay, Instagram, I'm not really comfortable. YouTube does. Okay, yeah. Like YouTube, I'm really comfortable to use YouTube because YouTube has a very strict guideline regarding about all the kind of like content and things like that. So in the YouTube application, it doesn't really recommend me those explicit content and things like that. And by the way, I am watch YouTube a lot, and YouTube understand me what is actually my interest and things like that. It suggests me such a content which I like, and it, yeah. So I am completely believe that I'm bitterly comfortable to use Instagram. Sorry, I'm bitterly comfortable to use YouTube in public platform, or yeah, it's like a in public. It's just yeah, but Instagram I will not comfortable that. Okay, yeah. There is also another social media application like Facebook. I am not really using Facebook that much, but Instagram is a kind of like a thing. What about Twitter? Well, I am not really use Twitter that much. Okay, yeah, I have a kind of like a account of Twitter, but I don't really use that much Twitter. I don't know. Yeah, so I don't really have any app, or I don't really use any Twitter things like that. Okay, I've just used only two social media, YouTube and Instagram. YouTube is bitterly comfortable to use in public spaces and things like that. Instagram is not. Yeah, I am not really comfortable to use this thing. Why do you think that it's not really comfortable? Yeah, it's, I don't know, yeah. It's a probably this thing that came. Um, Wait, now let me understand what is the actually question says. Does the rise of sexual content on social platform how much affect or how much comfortable? Okay, how much affect? Okay, I just talk about only comfortable. How much it affect on people? Okay, yeah. Okay, that's a really good question. Yeah, how much it affect? Like, if the sexual content is actually happen, how much it affect? Okay, so let's just explain. Like, let's just imagine. Okay, in simple format. Okay, you are in the park. It's a very beautiful park. Okay, there is a lot of flower, lot of things, वगैरह वगैरह. In this particular park, people are came here, and people are kind of like a something doing a picnic, or kind of like a doing something yoga, or doing something laughing, or things like that. Okay, yeah. The park is look really good, the vibe is really good, the people are over there in the park is really great. It felt really that it really feel good. Okay, yeah. Then suddenly almost like hundreds of people came into the park, and suddenly they are kind of like a something wearing such a very revealing clothes, like a very less clothes and things like that. So would you stay on that park? No, it's not that. It's literally uncomfortable. Yeah, you don't really feel that key. Yeah, because I am in the park. Okay, yeah. And there is hundreds of women or hundreds of girls are kind of like assembly at the park, and they are kind of like assembly wearing some sort of very revealing clothes. I'm not really comfortable with that. Okay, yeah. So I would leave the park. Okay, yeah. So this is what exactly happened in the Instagram too. Okay, yeah. But there is a question that how much it affect on the human if the people are actually consuming those content, the sexual content, how much it affect on the people. Well, first of all, does it really affect me that much? Well, it didn't really affect me that much. Oh yeah, because I am bitterly matured enough. Okay, yeah, because my age is 31. Okay, yeah, and I seen the Facebook rises, I seen the Instagram rises. Okay, yeah, like basically is this thing na ki uh, it doesn't really affect me. Okay, that much. Okay, like nothing really at all. So but uh, it affect a new generation. Okay, let's just imagine the people who born at the age of maybe 2015 or 2010, maybe, yeah. Let's just imagine, or maybe person who born at the age of 2005 to 2010. Okay, yeah. So that person have kind of like a some age of almost like a 20, or maybe, yeah, like basically the person who at the age of 17 to 18. Okay, and suddenly he was actually accessing the Instagram. Okay, by the way, in India, people as a child doesn't really access the mobile phone. They will access the Instagram through their parents mobile phone. Okay, yeah. So in their parents mobile phone, they are kind of like open up the Instagram, and they are kind of like create the account and things like that. Okay, yeah. And they kind of like seen those sexual content and things like that. Okay, yeah. So how much it affect them? Well, let me tell you one thing, my experience. I'm not really sure, but yeah. So a couple of days ago, I was went to another hometown. Okay, yeah. I was traveling there. Okay, yeah. I was traveling through bus. Okay, yeah. So I was kind of like sitting on chair. Okay, on that kind of like a seat. There is in front of me, there is a girl. Okay, might be her age is almost like maybe 14 or 13. Okay, I'm not really sure, but that girl is a child. Okay, yeah. Uh, her mother is kind of like a sit beside of her, and she was kind of like accessing Instagram from her mother's mobile phone. Okay, yeah. By the way, in this traveling, I was like she like her mother went to sleep, and that daughter is kind of like accessing Instagram. Okay, yeah. I was kind of like behind her, and it's kind of like a simply diagonal. Okay, so I am actually seeing the entire screen of what she was actually doing on the phone. Okay, yeah, literally, yeah, I could see. By the way, in that particular period of time, I'm a kind of like a listening the music. Okay, yeah. So I was listening the music, and suddenly I could see that girl is what is actually doing on the Instagram app. Okay, yeah. So let me tell you one thing. I'm not kind of like a somebody stalking. I'm not kind of like a somebody is this thing. It's a kind of like a somebody in my peripheral vision. I seen that particular thing. Okay, so yeah, it's not kind of like a somebody creeping that thing, but it's kind of like a thing that I just yeah. Let me. I'm not just creep out with other people's skin, but it just what I'm just trying to understand. Okay, okay. Don't kind of like a think me as a creep. I am not kind of like a stalk other people's screens, but still, it kind of like a somebody in between my peripheral vision. So that's why, and there is nothing really because entire kind of like a bus is bitterly crowded. So things like that, whatever. Okay, yeah. So she was actually accessing Instagram. Okay, first of all, what she accessed some sort of kind of like a something content regarding about something that a fashion. The woman is kind of like a somebody doing fashion and things like that. That is okay. She was scrolling through reels after reels. Okay, yeah. Some comedy, some things like that. Okay, yeah. And suddenly some of the reels are kind of like a shows little bit of kind of like a something sexual reel. Okay, it's not sexual reel. It's kind of like a somebody that the girl is actually dancing. Okay, it's a yeah, girl is actually dancing. Is it wrong to see that particular thing? No, like a girl can dance, it's a freedom, yeah, they could. But the dance in that particular reel, that girl is actually dancing in very explicit way. I'm not really sure, but her clothes, her things, it's not really that. Okay, yeah, it doesn't really feel right. It doesn't really feel that it's a, I don't know how do I supposed to explain it. So it's a very wrong, but I'm not really sure what is actually that. Okay, that girl, that 14-year-old, she was kind of like a watching that particular reel, and I was like, why is she looking at that? Okay, yeah, and then she was might be interested regarding about seeing that particular dance. Okay, yeah, she clicked the profile picture, and like she uploaded like the girl on that particular Instagram feed. They actually uploaded so many dance videos. She watched all the videos of that girl dance videos. I was like, why? And all the dance video, it's not even dance, it's a kind of like a some explicit way to doing a dance. I'm not really sure why this thing happened, and I'm not really sure that the 14-year-old girl is actually watching that particular reel. I was like, what is that thing? Okay, yeah, it just like fucking my mind. I was just kind of like thinking that ki, what is actually happened with 14-year-old girl on that child. She was actually watching that particular reel. Okay, yeah. So there is some sort of thing that I could imagine. Okay, yeah. First of all, body shaming. Okay, what is actually body shaming? Okay, I am a boy, I am a man. Okay, we don't really have a body shaming regarding about what exactly our body looks and things like that. Like at some times, like basically our belly parts are kind of like a look little bit something off, but yeah, it's like that na ki a men are kind of like a something that ki they don't really take care of their body that much. Okay, yeah, it's kind of like a something that it's their body and things like that. But as a female, they are kind of like a taking very care of their body. Okay, yeah, not only body, the way that they looks and things like that, because usually women's are always seek for external validation from beauty point of perspective. Why? Because women are always kind of like a something seek for beautiness. Like if I'm gonna say beauty, it represent female, not male. Okay, yeah, because like, yeah, what I'm trying to tell you, do you get it? Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing na ki women and girl are always seek for that ki she has to be look good. Okay, yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that ki when that 14-year-old girl seen that particular reel about that girl is actually kind of like a doing something revealing reels, doing a dance on that revealing things, it affect on that 14-year-old girl. Okay, yeah, it affect that ki why she looks so beautiful and why I'm not really look that beautiful. Yeah, basically is this thing, I don't really understand the gravity. Like as a male, we don't really understand the gravity of human point of, as a male point of perspective, because we don't really think that much deeply. Okay, but women or girls, they are think that very deeply. They always kind of like a try to look as much beautiful from not only the face but every body and things like that. Okay, yeah. So that 14-year-old girl might be kind of like a feel really ashamed of her body. Okay, by kind of like a seeing that particular girl and things like that. Okay, yeah. One thing. Another thing is that key, if that 14-year-old girl, okay, right now I'm kind of like a talking about just an assumption. Okay, just an assumption. Okay, I'm not really sure that what is actually 14-year-old girl that what is actually thinking. I'm just assuming everything. Okay, yeah. So I might be completely wrong, but I'm trying to assuming. All right, yeah. So there is a first thing. Okay, that girl is not really kind of like a, somebody feel really ashamed of her body because another girl on that particular reel kind of like a look really beautiful and she was not really look that beautiful. Okay, one thing. So she was kind of like a feel really ashamed of her body. First thing. Another thing is that key, the girl in that reel, that girl is kind of like a doing nothing. She was kind of like a simply just dancing in front of the mobile phone and uploading those dancing videos on the Instagram platform. Okay, yeah. And because of this thing, she is actually earning so much amount of money. She has millions of followers and things like that. Okay, yeah. So there is a kind of like some another perception is actually created regarding about the 14-year-old girl. Means like that she think that 14-year-old girl, she might think that ki, if you want to earn so much amount of money, you have to do this, you have to kind of like do the dancing in front of mobile phone and things like that, and upload that dancing video on the, yeah. Why? Because let me tell you one thing, the conventional way of earning money, like doing a job and things like that, you might not earn that much amount of money. But if you wanted to earn so much amount of money, probably you have to go to the social media and you just have to upload those things and you will gonna earn money and things like that, which is true by the way. Yeah, like basically from conventional way of doing a job, you are not really earning that much amount of money. But if you went to social media and things like that, you will earn in like almost like a 10 times higher than that. So this is what kind of like a perception will gonna created in 14-year-old girl. Okay, yeah. Now this perception kind of like a something, if that 14-year-old girl still consuming that content for years and years, and after that she wanted to do a kind of like some action. What do you mean by action? First of all is that she can also do the dance. Okay, so she will, the 14-year-old girl, she might gonna do the dance in front of that social media and things like that. At the beginning she might not get that much views, but suddenly somehow some after some sort of time she getting some sort of views. So she is getting encouraged by doing this thing, because people are saying this thing, you are too beautiful, you are too great and things like that. Okay, yeah. And because of this encouragement, she might gonna do something really even more bigger stuff, like she might gonna do kind of like a simply surgery of her to look sexually beautiful. Okay, yeah. Surgery means like that, like there are so many surgery in the, like a botox surgery or boob surgery, or I don't know. Yeah, it's the kind of like if you do that surgery, your kind of like a hips and boobs and the your body face and body structure look kind of like a something very like sexually arousing. Okay, yeah. So she might gonna do that surgery. Okay, yeah. And when she does that surgery, then probably she has only one thing to do, is that ki do the explicit dance in front of that social media platform, and she's earning so much amount of money. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you, in that 14-year-old girl, she was kind of like encouraged by all those things. Okay, yeah. Easy money, easy validation, easy beautifulness, because as a girl wants to be beautiful, yeah, that's it. Okay, because in the conventional way of getting success is very hard. Like basically who goes to the college, 4 year of college, who might get pass and things like that, and then after that you get in the college, you get a job, and in the job you will get the hassle and things like that. After all the effort and things like that, you will not gonna get the money that you want to earn. Okay, yeah. But kind of like somebody doing the simple way, doing kind of like somebody in social media, doing kind of like do explicit dance, you will get the millions of follower, millions of validation, everyone says you are beautiful and things like that, and you're gonna earn so much amount of money. So probably is this thing, this might be affect, this might be affect on the 14-year-old girl. But is it wrong? Yeah. Like if that girl is kind of like a something that key influenced by a particular girl, and she was kind of like a doing this social media and things like that, is it wrong? Yeah, is it wrong or not? Like you just have to ask this question, is it wrong or right? Well, first of all is that na ki the success that you are seeing on the social media is a temporary, it's not a permanent, by the way. What do you mean by temporary? Like imagine, okay, yeah, you are young, you are kind of like a do that thing, you are sexually look so beautiful, and you are kind of like a dancing in front of social media and things like that, you have millions of followers. But how much it how much will you continue, like till the age of 20, 30, 40? After that, all the kind of like some beautifulness will gonna lose at some sort of point. So what exactly happened? Or okay, maybe this might be kind of like something very wrong to suggest, because of that key like during this particular year you might gonna earn so much amount of money that you don't need to do work after the age of 40. So yeah, this point will not gonna valid that much. Okay, another thing is that key, if you goes on this way, you might gonna end up with something really much more kind of like a something very crazy stuff. Crazy stuff means like that, like at first you are kind of like a doing a dance, doing an explicit dance on social media platform. Okay, yeah, but what if there is another guy who says that he, I will gonna give you millions of dollar, you just have to create only fan page. Okay, only fan page is a kind of like a something that ki, the people who are actually showcasing their naked body and things like that on on that website. Okay, yeah. So, and basically that particular person is kind of like a say this thing, I will gonna give you millions of dollar. So you started the OnlyFans page, and in the OnlyFans page there is lot of wrong thing happened. Yeah, what I'm trying to tell you, what exactly is this thing? You went to this career path, you went to this kind of like a stuff. Okay, you went to this particular path that you chose. Okay, yeah, is it wrong? Well, financially it is not really wrong. Okay, you gonna earn so much amount of money, that is definitely true. Okay, yeah, but the respect, you will not gonna get any respect at all. Your parents will not gonna respect the profession that you choose and things like that. One thing, another thing is that he, you always, no one is kind of like a something look up to you as a friend. Everyone is looked up to you as a kind of like a something, a sexual toy and things like that. So you might not have any friend. Yeah, you might not have any friend. Okay, or maybe whoever the friend that you have, similar line of work. Okay, yeah, means like that they are also kind of like a doing this and that. Okay, another thing is that ki, because you don't really have anything, you don't really have a friend, you don't really have family, you don't really have any kind of like a person near to you, it's very difficult to live the life alone. Okay, you might have so much amount of money. What about the boyfriend? Like maybe if that particular girl might gonna have a boyfriend, dude, just imagine. Okay, that girl is kind of like a doing explicit dance in front of social media, she uploading naked body photo on OnlyFans page. Who is the guy will gonna marry her? Okay, yeah, might be like there is a guy will gonna marry her and things like that, but still finding that particular right guy for her is very difficult thing, because whoever the person that will be, that only man has a kind of like only one thing from her, is just for sex and things like that. That's it. Okay, or sex or money. So probably whoever the person that she will gonna date, that person might be kind of like a something just, I don't know. Yeah. So probably what I'm trying to tell you, if you are going to this path, you're gonna earn so much amount of money. That is definitely true. Okay, yeah. But in the long run, you might be alone. You don't really have family, you don't really have friend, you are traveling alone, you just nothing really at all. You cannot trust anybody, because obviously whoever they trust you, they will broke your trust, they will kind of like somebody broke your money and things like that. Or there is lot of thing. Okay, if you went to this line of work, there is lot of fucked up people will gonna see you, and they will gonna taking advantage you from multiple points. It's really black hole kind of like a stuff. Okay, yeah. So this might gonna happen with that 14-year-old girl who is actually accessing this particular Instagram, is actually showcasing this. Okay, yeah. So regarding about like, if there is nothing really happened like that, if there is nothing really happened, but still it's somewhat something influence her thought process, thing is like that. So there is, I'm pretty much sure that ki, if such thing happened, it might affect a lot. Okay, yeah, not only girls, but it also affect the boys too. Okay, yeah, like a boys are also things like that, kids are kind of like a something girl and things, and they will masturbate and things like that. Still it is also be really wrong. Okay, so from every point of perspective, it's a wrong. Okay, yeah. So I was kind of like a sitting back, and I was kind of like a looking at that girl is actually scrolling through Instagram and things like that. I just, I don't know. Yeah, I can't say anything at all. She like the entire journey was almost like a 1.5 hour of journey from one hometown to another. Okay, yeah, one city to another city, and in the entire 1.5 hour, she was scrolling through Instagram. Legit, dude, was like, what the fuck? Like basically, at some certain point, I was fall asleep. So I went to sleep, and when I eyes opened, she was still scrolling through reels, and I was like, boy, oh boy. Okay, yeah. Another thing, how much it affect? Okay, instant gratification. Okay, yeah. If that 14-year-old girl don't want to do anything at all, don't want to do any kind of like some influence and things like that, that is okay. Okay, yeah, chalo. But what is about the instant gratification? What is actually instant gratification? Instagram reel are meant to be for almost like a 30 minutes, sorry, 30 second to 1 minute or things like that. Okay, so whatever the content that you are consuming through Instagram feed, it's kind of like a something only for kind of like a couple of seconds. In the couple of seconds, you might not get any kind of like some information, nothing really at all. Okay, yeah. So probably is this thing because of when you are access so much amount of vertical video, means reels and something like that, you cannot able to watch long form of video, the video which is kind of like a 10-minute long. You cannot watch that because the kind of like a something, the intensity that you have to kind of like actually watch the entire video is nothing, because you don't really have that kind of like some energy to watch that entire video and things like that. So instant gratification is kind of like a something killing your mood. Okay, yeah. You need a kind of like a somebody everything instant. You need a kind of like a somebody everything right now. Okay, yeah. Vertical video is actually giving you everything right now, like a dopamine level. But in when you watch the long form video, you just can't do that. Okay, so this might be something very affect. Okay, yeah. So there is so many effect, by the way. Yeah, this is the stuff that I just experience, but there are so many ways. Okay, yeah, and things and something like that. Okay, yeah. So yeah, so this is what I think about how much it affect on social media and how much I comfortable using social media platform. Okay, yeah. It does not really affect me that much because I'm really matured enough to understand all those things, algorithm and things like that, because my age. Okay, I'm 31. I seen the world, I seen everything, what is actually people, what is actually reality and things like that. But the 14-year-old girl haven't really seen the world, haven't really seen the reality. Okay, she was actually seeing the entire world through 5 inches of screen. Yeah, that's it. She, the only rest of the world is in her phone. That's it. So for her, or for any kind of like a girl or any kind of like a person who is, I don't know, yeah, but still is not really comfortable to use, and it is not really kind of like a somebody that affect right. Okay, yeah. But I will not gonna say this thing to the YouTube. Okay, YouTube is a very different thing. YouTube is a very different game, by the way, because you in the YouTube platform, you will not gonna see the explicit content, things like that, and whoever the people is actually kind of like accessing the content is kind of like a meant to get the information, things like that, and YouTube will get the information, but Instagram is not. Whatever, but it's a reality. We are living in reality. We just hope for the best and prepare for the worst. Alright, this is it, and thank you.